All right, folks. That's right. We're back again. We're back again. So sorry that the fucking my internet cut out. I don't know what that was, bro. It's like 8 p.m. time to start the show. Take his internet away. I didn't appreciate that. Cox Communications, step it up, please. Just kidding. Welcome back to Behind the Glass, episode number 9. We're about to go to the point where you're gonna need another hand to start counting the episodes. That's great. Let me stop the music. Tonight we are joined by none other than Nico Jordan, recording artist and mixing engineer. So we're going to be chatting with him tonight. Obviously, my name is Bob. I'm Behind the Glass. I'm just trying to show you as many different people working in different roles behind the music industry to try to paint a holistic picture of how everything operates. So if you're new here, like and subscribe. Stop playing with me. Don't play around.
You can subscribe that shit.
That's right. That's right. Honestly, I don't want to pull up the YouTube statistics right now, but last time I checked, about 83% of the people watching these videos are not subscribed. Why do me like that? I don't know.
It's not that hard to click the button, man.
That's what I'm saying. Just
click the bell too.
You don't even have to stop the video. Just scroll down, chick, subscribe, scroll up, chick, and we're back in it. All right, but tonight we are joined by Nico Jordan. Nico, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
Oh man, I'm great. I am fucking great. Can't complain, man. I'm feeling grateful. I got a lot of stuff coming up here very soon, so I'm just staying focused and present in the moment, man. I'm grateful that you have me on, so thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. So if you don't mind, for those that might be uninitiated at this point, could you tell us a little bit about who Nico Jordan is, and how you got started doing what it is that you do?
Yeah. So just to get out of the way, Nico Jordan is my real name. I think there is this I forget what rapper said it, but I think it was Kendrick Lamar. If I'm going to tell my story, I'm going to start with my name. So yes, my name is Nico Jordan. I started making music, I want to say about 7-8 years ago. It was kind of a spur of the moment type thing. I grew up around music. My dad, he's been in the service industry, particularly the bar industry, for a very long time, and they play live music every single night. So growing up, I'd always be at the bar, like seeing these bands play. My mom, she's a musical person herself. My grandfather was in a very well-known band, and so I just always wanted to be around music, man.
Gotcha.
And so when I started creating music about 8 years ago, I had no idea what my identity would be musically or my sound. I just knew I wanted to create something. And after time and putting my nose to the grindstone, man, I kind of have come up with the sound that works for me, and I don't even know how I'd describe it if I'm being honest.
True. It does blend up so many different sounds or genres. It's hard to pinpoint just one box to put you in, but I think that especially nowadays, that's the mark of a really good creative musician. Because
I think it's necessary too. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be boxed in for anything, and I like so many different genres. So it's really refreshing to be able to step out of my comfort zone and work with sounds that I normally wouldn't work with, and somehow find a way to harness them and make them my own.
True. Yeah, absolutely. I would say all the songs I've listened to by you, getting prepped for this, you definitely have your own sound. You're not biting any one person. I couldn't put on any one of your tracks and be like, oh, this sounds like insert artist here. So I commend you on that for sure.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So you've been doing this thing about 8 years. What do you think is the hardest thing about what you do with music?
I'd say the hardest part about music is, not necessarily making the music. Early on, I thought that's what it was. You get so discouraged when you want to make a good song and you want it to, do these amazing things, and you have some expectations. But now I think the hardest thing is really just going out there and not necessarily selling the music, but more over winning a crowd, man, because we live in a generation now where it's everything is so highly accessible. There's a million artists, man. There's so many fucking songs and albums being uploaded every single day, and people's attention spans are designed for fucking 15-second videos.
Yeah.
So, the hardest part now is how do you catch someone's attention? It doesn't even matter how good the art is anymore. people want something that is striking and is out at their face, and it catches their attention. So that's really the hard part of the industry today. How do you get your 10 seconds? And when you get your 10 seconds of people's attention, what are you going to do with it then?
True. Yeah, because you got to be like prepared for every opportunity, but then when opportunity comes, you have to like seize it. You know what I mean? It's about what you do.
That door will open, man, and it'll close even faster than it opened. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
that's the hard part, man. And sometimes we don't even realize that as artists, man, as small independent artists, like when a door is opening, or how to open a door. So I think that's the hard part right now is definitely just because the music's there, man, and just I'm grateful to create. I create every single day that I get a chance to, and it's not always a hit, you know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to work and refine my craft and just waiting for that moment where we're not even waiting, trying to create that opportunity in that moment, and then when I get that opportunity, like seize it and jump on it and hopefully build it into something big.
Yeah. No, 100%. And then it's really important, like you said, like staying consistent as far as when you're creating, so that you're like in top fighting form, if you will, for when that opportunity comes. Like you gotta, you know what I mean? You can't, skip the gym for a month and then, you have to fight this black belt in 2 weeks. Like you're not gonna be
You know
ready.
what
You
I'm
know what I
saying?
mean?
Your power level got to be over 9,000 at all times.
Absolutely,
All
constantly,
times.
at all times, at all times. So to go along with like, what's hard about music nowadays, which I totally agree with you. People's attention spans are shrinking year over year, and so how does anyone have the appetite for like a 60-minute album? Like people just by and large don't. Um, but if you could talk specifically about like one specific event, has there been any major setbacks that you've encountered, or things that have like completely changed your plan of attack?
Yeah. So initially, when I first started like creating and all of that, I went into it with like I don't want to say overly optimistic mindset, but I was just like, by any means necessary, I'm gonna get there,
Mhm.
to that pinnacle, that peak that everybody seeks. And not that I'm still not in that place now where I want to get there. It's just the setback that I had experienced was I had put out this project at the time, and this is where like you get the fine line between like, okay, people might like you for a certain reason, but you'll find out who really cares about like what you're doing, and you'll really find out like where your art is at. And I put something out that I was like really excited for, and
Mhm.
that shit flopped so hard, like even in my hometown, like I don't think it got any playback, any reception. And I actually got dragged on Twitter for it. This is before I started going by Nico, just my name. I started originally I was going by like Nick James. It's so fucking corny, bro. I don't know why.
Huh. Okay.
Uh, but when I was going under that alias at the time, yeah, it didn't work out too well, man. And I got dragged on Twitter, and it was super bad, man. Like just like this is fucking garbage, this is trash. And I was like, oh my god, I wanted to quit so badly, but I was like, no, fuck this, because I think I was trying so hard to be like the industry standard, like what people want to hear, like what's pop and the fuck. At the time, it was like Little Baby and whoever else, Future and all that. I was trying
Mhm.
so hard to be in that. Travis Scott was just getting really fucking massive with like Astro World and all that. And yeah, man, it was tough. It was a tough like break to experience that in like a large quantity of like negative, connotations towards my art. So I had to go back to the drawing board, and I think it was a benefit though. I think if you get through those setbacks and you allow yourself to feel them rather than like run away from them, you really can find yourself at a higher height. B, you get a thicker skin, man. You just need to, especially in this industry. You will not get anywhere being soft, bro. Like I don't care who you are. It's
Mhm.
kind of like a, you know, sheep in wolf's clothing, or wolf in sheep's clothing, whatever it is. You kind of gotta
Yeah.
put your fangs out there and stay, persistent and say fuck it, because you're gonna find your haters, you're gonna find the negativity, but you gotta work through it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a testament to you and your drive and how committed you are to this, cuz like it definitely probably would have been pretty easy when you were getting dragged as your old artist name, to just stop, to be like, cut your losses, like, this isn't worth the trouble, like, fuck this, fuck them, like, whatever, you know what I mean? I'm just gonna go do whatever else. But, you know, I think it's important, like you were saying, to go through those points, like, of transformation is what they really are, because it's like you get comfortable, like, in your life, in music, in like whatever you're doing, you get comfortable, and so you stop trying as hard, like, not intentionally, but you just get complacent. You're like, I rap this way, it's good. I go into the studio, I record, it sounds good. Like, and this is something I found with myself. But then, you get challenged in life or whatever else, and then you have to, like, really sit and ask yourself, like, is this the best that I could do? Like, but without those challenges, like, you just stay there forever. I can speak personally to that. Like, if you're not going out and challenging yourself, making it harder, going back to the drawing board, asking, like, what can I do? What can I change? Like, if you're not doing that, that's where you're going to fail, because, like, success comes in your ability to adapt and pivot.
Absolutely, and I feel like for anybody who's listening right now, I think it's pivotal for you to understand, and even myself still, because I'm still on that journey myself as an artist. But it only takes one yes, you know what I'm saying? It only takes that one yes. How many no's and how much negativity and bullshit are you willing to push through to get to that one yes? And that one yes could change your whole fucking life forever. Yeah, and I feel like, that sort of thing can take years. It really can. You get those people who pop off overnight. But in reality, if you really think about it, a lot of these artists, it's probably like, I worked 10 years, or I worked 5 years, or I worked 6 years to blow up overnight, to be an overnight success. Like, no, like, most of the time it's people who are really, grinding their way through, and they took all the no's, and they created opportunities for themselves and got to that place. It's not just like overnight success. And I think it's more important to look at that as like, hey, like, that happened to them, it could happen to me. So just keep on pushing.
Yeah. Something that I'm really big on too is, like, there's enough world for everyone to succeed. Like, I believe that there's enough, like, land on the earth that we could plant enough crops to feed everyone. Like, like, someone else eating isn't taking food out of your mouth. Like, there's food for everyone. You have to go out and find the food the same way that the person that's eating is eating. You know what I mean? Like, someone didn't, like, kill prey for them and bring it to them so they could eat. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta do this for yourself. But I definitely think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, there's definitely room for everybody to, to get out there and do their thing, and, find their audience. That most importantly, I especially out in Arizona, it's such a tight niche place. It's not as big as like certain, other states. So a lot of the community knows one another, but even still, like, someone else's fans might end up being my fans in a different way, because, like, maybe I touch a certain niche of music that they're really interested in, and this other artist isn't in that, category or that genre or whatever they want to call it. So, like, I agree. I think there's room for everybody to, make way and improve and grow their fan base and grow their platform.
Yeah. And then, real quick before we move on, for speaking on the Arizona thing, it's like, a lot of times here, I feel like collaboration is viewed as, like, intimidating. Like, people don't want to collaborate because they're afraid of, like, not getting as many views as the other person, or, like, whatever. There's, like, a lot that goes into it. But yeah, I think that collaboration is, like, how you get to that next level. It's not a competition. Like, the people at the top are collaborating, the people at the bottom are competing. And so, yeah, you know what I mean? So, okay.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. The artist community is definitely, has its turmoil, its discomforts, but I got a lot of respect for just the artists out here in general. They're doing their thing, man. It's a hard place to, grow out of. I don't really know anybody who has touched a mountain of success. Like, there are very select few who are, finding success here and there, but nothing to, nothing to the limits that most people look at, like a Drake or a Post Malone or
Yeah.
a Future or someone from Atlanta. You know, there's so many artists from Atlanta and California and New York. I don't really know an artist from Arizona. I think the biggest one is what, Futuristic.
Yep. Yeah, futuristic is typically what most people go to. Willie North Pole did it back in the day. Hannibal Leck did it back in the day. We're talking like major label endorsement. Odd Squad Family. They've been out here for a minute. They're definitely like homegrown success, kind of coming under the same wings as futuristic. But they've seen a lot of success. They just got back from a tour. When independent artists from Arizona can book their own tour and have more people in other states coming to their show than these local artists do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things are changing, but yeah, there's no currently not like a household name like most people know Travis Scott is from Houston, you know what I mean? And I do feel like we are missing like a representative in that regard, but give it time. I think things are changing here, and I think that there is, like I said, there's enough space for everyone to succeed. So, and
Oh
like you
yeah,
said,
man.
it's just one
I think
yes.
Arizona's about to take the music industry by storm. I really do believe that. Uh, I got that homie Alexis, bro. He's out there doing some crazy
Hmm.
shit right now, bro. So, there are people out here in the cities that making some noise and making their way through. So,
Yeah.
just a matter of time to see what happens.
I liken it to South Florida. What happened like 5-10 years ago with XXX, Ski Mask, all of that, Lil Skies, everyone that popped out of South Florida in that span of 2 or 3 years. Like, yeah, I really feel like that time is coming for Arizona. But anyway, we talked about some of like the things that are hard. We talked about big setbacks. Let's, on a happier note, what favorite like studio memories or recording session memories do you have? And I'm sure you may have a couple, so feel free to share as much as you would like to.
Yeah, I think I had like a breakthrough. I had a breakthrough about 3 or 4 years ago when I made my first project under my name. And I was living with some of my best friends at the time, and we were living in like the fucking slums, dude. Like the most like crusty ass house, bro. Like broken. My bedroom, the whole back window was broken, like shattered from a party they had through there before I even lived in the house,
Damn.
and so it was like taped up with cardboard. And I remember like I did not know originally, like I didn't look up like any YouTube tutorials or nothing like that, man. Like I just learned how to mix on my own, just like from my ears, just listening. If I
Hmm.
like it, cool. If I don't, cool.
Yeah.
And remember I had made this song, and I can remember the feeling like it was yesterday. Like um, I had made this song, and the song is called Clouded. But I was fucking like so surprised at how it sounded. Like it hit me like a sack of bricks, bro. I was like, holy shit! Like I get it. Like it's not like the best polished mix you'll ever hear, but like for the first time, I heard my voice in a capacity to where I was like so excited and geeked, and I was like, dude, I could do this. Like I really could do this. That was like my first ever like big breakthrough studio moment. Because I don't go to big studios personally. Nothing wrong with going to big studios. I understand where people get the mindset like, you go to a studio, you get a better product, and in some cases that is true. But I like to always like reframe artist perspective to being like, if you learn how to do it on your own, if you don't know the language, it's going to be hard for you to bring your vision to life. And I'm very grateful that I'm in the position that I didn't have the money to go to big studios. I didn't have the opportunity to go to like the salt mine or somewhere like that to go, step in the booth and get some records made. There wasn't really any studios like that out here in Tucson. There was one, but that shit is gone. And so I had to learn on my own. And I was living at Oregon and living in Portland at the time when I started like creating, so I knew nobody out there.
Mm.
Uh, so I thought it was super important, to find the foundation of my sound on my own. And I really recommend, or I at least implore artists to, in some capacity, don't rely solely on a big studio to get your sound across. Because there are artists who made fucking incredible hits in their bedrooms,
Yeah.
not knowing what the fuck they were doing, but
Yep.
they knew what they wanted it to sound like. They didn't need to go to some educated engineer or, super fancy studio with these super fancy preamps and microphones and sound acoustics to make a hit record. You don't need that nowadays. You really don't.
That's true. Yeah. To talk about that a little bit, Bryson Tiller, his first album made in his fucking living room. I'm pretty sure Chance the Rapper's 10 Day mixtape originally was, I'm pretty sure, as far as I know, made in like a
Pretty
bedroom
sure
studio.
acid rap was too.
Was it really?
Pretty sure it was.
Sheesh. Acid rap, man, that's classic.
Man, it was like a fucking high school like soundtrack to my life at the time, man. I
Same.
fucking loved that rap.
Same. Yeah, I think the moment that every like that the glass shattered for me, if you will, to incorporate the behind the glass thing is I think I was in high school and someone like, because I went to like recording engineering school, so like I learned a bit, and I think it was there maybe just before, just after, someone was like, yeah, the Migos records in like hotels, like that's all of their songs are recorded in like hotels. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, they literally just set up one of those like vocal shields, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
in any hotel room they're at on tour, and then they just like put like a blanket over themselves with one of those, and that's it, and that's how they record. And I'm like on like expensive mics though, right? And they're like, nah, like a fucking AKG C414 or something like that, like just your standard run of the mill. And it's like there's really this misconception that I think that the more money you spend to work with someone who has more expensive gear equals a better product. And it's like, if that was the case, why are Migos recording in hotel rooms on $400 mics? Like, it's not necessary. In all, I mean, there's definitely advantages. Like, I'm not trying to talk down on gear. Like, there are certain advantages to using pieces of gear, but also, yeah.
But you gotta know how to use it, man.
Yep.
Like, it's like people think like I just bought these fucking like $1,000 this big ass compressor, but like, do you know how to fucking use that shit?
Right.
Please.
Do you know how to set? Do you know how to set the ceiling to set the threshold? Like, do you know what a compressor does? Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Do you know what a fucking compressor does? Like, so I always just tell people like, don't worry about that sort of stuff, because one, that doesn't make your songwriting any better. It really doesn't.
True.
You still got to know how to, like, not even know how to write a song, but you can't, like, say you go into a multi-million-dollar studio, right, and you record a bad song, bro. Like, you record a bad song. Like, I don't care how good the engineer is. They're not gonna make this bad song any better.
You can't polish a turd. You can't, polish a turd.
Can't
You feel
polish
me?
a turd, man.
So,
I love that it's do it yourself. DIY is a lot of the way that the industry is leaning nowadays, and I think that's important. I think the power needs to be in the artist's hands. I don't think it needs to be in these labels' hands. And not to short out the audio engineers out there who really are doing their shit, because there's a time and place for everything. So once you get to that point where it's like, damn, I am making some noise, I am making some traction or whatnot, and I do want somebody's ears on this project or whatever that might be more sonically tuned, and can help me achieve a vision a bit better.
For sure.
Until you're at that place, I think you should just stick to doing it by yourself. Save yourself a lot of money and a lot of headache.
Facts. You won't save yourself time though. It's gonna take some time.
Yeah, it's gonna take time, but you're gonna save
Yeah.
yourself a lot of like going to work and having to save up to go to the fucking studio. And,
Sure.
So
100%.
in a way you are saving time.
100%. You're just investing your time.
Absolutely, you're investing your time into yourself.
For sure. So real quick before we get into the AI overlords section of the interview, before they get angry with me, I wanted to ask you about your favorite project that you've worked on. This could be a single song. This could be an album. What do you think is your favorite project that you've worked on?
Favorite project or song currently released? I don't know. I know this album that I'm going to be releasing this year, probably towards the later half of the year. I'm so proud of it, man. Like, on the contrary to what anybody feels or believes about it, I think it's the first time that sonically I've completed a journey of telling a story that I actually wanted to tell, rather than just feeling like so pressured by society or by whatever to just throw something out there so that people could listen to something and stay relevant. I've taken 2.5 years, almost 3, to complete this album. So I'm super excited about that. But in terms of a song I have out right now, I just dropped this song called "Good Things Takes Time" with my buddy Nate the Little Otis, and I think that song is, you know, it's definitely the foundation of like where I'm going to be going moving forward, and I'm very proud of the subject material of the record. I think it's very has a great juxtaposition to it because the first half is Natho just going crazy on it, talking about how bad life can be and how horrible it is, and then the second half of the song comes in and it's like me trying my best to lay down these like beautiful melodies and harmonies of just gratitude and being grateful and understanding that it's not always going to be bad, and it's not necessarily bad, it's just the way you look at things, you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So I think that record is definitely the one right now that I'm most proud of that one.
For sure, for sure. I got that queued up, so as we're headed out tonight, we'll definitely be tuning into that. Real quick, before we get into the AI section, I just wanted to say, if you guys are following along live, there is his link tree in the chat. I just popped it in there again. So definitely go ahead and take some time, get familiar with Nico, see what he's up to, and make sure you put an ear to any of his social medias for that album that's coming out, because we know that shit is going to be fucking blammer. It's going to be fire, fuego. Can't wait. So now, this is the point of the episode where I went to our friends, our AI overlords, and I said, hey, I'm going to be talking to Nico tonight. What do you want me to ask him? And I've compiled their list of questions, and so to appease them, I'm going to ask you these questions to try to get a better understanding of you. So please just go with me, dude. They don't treat me very nicely when I don't ask these questions. So
All right.
I'm just kidding. The first one is, how do you balance creative expression with commercial success in your music?
Staying humble. Yeah, that's the only way I think you can. Commercials, I don't even care about the commercial part, man. Just any success, whether it's, someone tuning in and telling me congratulations or showing love or whatnot. And, not going into the studio and being like, yeah, I'm fucking the baddest motherfucker, Like, I feel like, people will approach me and say things that they like about my successes, or I'll recognize these successes, and where's that success coming from? It's from what I'm doing. It's not from, what the results were from what I did. It's from what I was doing. So, I just stay, focus on the music, man, tell my story, stay vulnerable, try not to take myself too seriously all the time, because realistically, bro, we are all human beings living an experience, man. So I'm not by any means something fantastic, in the grand scheme of things. So, I just try to keep it humble and move forward.
That's tight. It's tight. It's tight to hear that you're so grounded, because and I don't know this to be the truth, like for sure, but I imagine like Kendrick coming up, or even now, doesn't go into a studio saying, I'm the best, do it my way. I'm sure that he is listening to others around him, even though Kendrick is one of the fucking greatest to ever do it. But he also knows that he doesn't know everything. He can never know everything. And so like, it's
know everything. That's a lot of shit to know, bro. That's a lot of shit
dude,
to know.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it was Einstein. I'm gonna butcher this quote, but it's something about like only a fool thinks he knows everything. Like a person who could be smart enough to know everything knows that there's a vast amount of information they will never be able to ascertain, because there's just simply too much. So
Way too much, man.
Yeah.
Way too much. And I agree 100%. I learn something new from everybody not from everybody, but from somebody every single day. Whether it's just a life principle, man, a moral, a value, working with other artists, man. Like, like I'll just be in the studio cooking up with somebody, and they'll be like, hey, man, have you ever tried this? And I'm like, no. And then I'll try it, and I'm like, thanks, like, so.
yeah,
I never try to take myself overly serious and like as like an overlord. Like, there's so much more to learn, and I'm willing to learn it.
yeah, 100%. Well, and it's good that you talk about the collaboration, because our next question from our AI friends is, what role does collaboration play in your music making process, and can you name a dream collaboration?
Yeah, okay, yeah, I can name a dream collaboration for sure. I would love to work with Black. Black
Yeah.
is, dude, like,
Six Lack. No, I'm kidding.
Six Flags, you know, hey, I'm guilty of calling him that when he first started coming out in the
Uh,
scene too. But originally I wanted to be some like fucking Joyner Lucas or like some fast rapper who was spitting all these crazy bars, Lil Wayne, Future type. Man, I don't have to like I don't live the lifestyle like that to talk about that shit. Like
mm,
so for me like the way I was expressing myself originally, it just wasn't authentic, man. It wasn't me being true to myself. Like I was trying so hard to like fit this narrative, and it wasn't my narrative. It wasn't me. And then I think when Black came out, I was like, holy shit, bro! Like just hearing some dude who I imagine if him and I were to hang out, we'd be friends, like
mm.
because I feel like he has a very similar energy to me. And so yeah, he's definitely a big collaboration I would love to have. Now, in terms of what I love about collaborating currently with the people I do collaborate with,
Mm.
I feel there's been several occasions where like I've come across artists who, maybe have come across me or have heard about me just from, the community or the scene or whatnot. And when they get to meet me, they're like, "Oh shit, that's Nico. Like, I know who that guy is." Or maybe they don't. They're like, "Who's that?" And they're like, "Oh, I know now from like seeing me perform or whatnot."
Yeah.
And like they'll be like, like I want to I make music. They're all like kind of like they're like self conscious about it and shit. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, do you like cool? And no, like, but like,
Cool.
it ends up, yeah, like, cool, like, I'm not trying to like shame them or like come off like bigger than what I am. Just like that's cool. Like, you want to record something? Like, we should work sometime. And like, they'll come to the studio or like I'll come to them, and it's crazy, man, because like I like to inspire artists who are on the way up too. Maybe they're not at the level I'm at, just in terms sonically or whatnot. And I love to be able to let them see what that's like and help like light a fire under their ass to go out there and keep on doing it and keep on creating.
Yeah.
And so that's probably the beauty of collaboration for me, because I
Uh,
know there's been several people I've collabed with. I went on tour with Mark Battles last year, and I've gotten to collab with him several times. And every time I collab with him, I'm like, fuck, like I want to go 10 times harder now, like.
yeah.
So hopefully, I bring that to the table for people too.
Well, I'm sure there's probably been people in your life that have done the same thing for you. You know what I mean? So you're
Oh,
just,
absolutely.
yeah. So you're just trying to pay it forward. That's super tight. Um, the next one is, can you pinpoint a particular moment or event that solidified your commitment to a career in music?
Yeah, I can. Um, it was, I want to say 3 years ago. Yeah, about 3.5 years ago, man. I did my first show, and I had worked really hard on the second project that I had put out. Um, you know, People were like finally starting to like tune into like the tiniest amount of buzz that I was building in the city. And we had a decent crowd pop out for this show that we threw. It was for like this collective I'm a part of called PG. We threw a show, and it was like an album release show too, or like a mixtape release show, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not gonna do it. Like I had never performed before. And all my friends who like went up and performed before me, like they were nervous too, but they went and did it, and I was like, "Fuck this shit! I'm not doing it. Like I cannot." I was about to walk out the back door and like just run. I was gonna
Damn.
vomit. Like my girl was there, and she's like, "You better not." Like all my friends were like, "You better get the
Bro.
fuck out there." And then like they like shined the light on me, bro, and like threw me on the stage to like go up there, and like I don't know what clicked in my brain, but something was like, "Okay, all these people are looking at you, just do it, just yell into the microphone, I don't give a fuck." And like I didn't have any vocal control live or like any stage presence, man. I was just up there like, yeah, like saying my shit however I had to say it. And then like I'd say probably like 4 or 5 songs in, I started to get a rhythm, and like I saw people like kind of moving along with me, and I was like, oh, I'm hooked. Like I want to keep on doing this.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna do this forever, like in some capacity. I don't care if people feel me or not. Like this feels really good to be up here and express myself how I need to,
Yeah.
or how I want to, rather.
It's interesting how many artists, if you ask them that question, it has to do with maybe their first show or the first time that they got they felt that energy from the crowd. Because I'm sure you've heard tons of artists, like successful artists, any artist, talk about like feeding off the energy from a crowd, like at a show.
Oh
And
yeah, man.
it's you can't, it's like almost can't be explained. Like it's, you just have to experience it. So yeah.
And that's like the double-edged sword, man. Is like I think that artistry right now is at a place where music is so fixated on like I want to make this one song for this one reason, like to get a crowd going. And then you get that artist who maybe does land success with that record, like for whatever reason, and they can't follow up with that, man. They really can't follow up or top that, so they kind of get stuck in this box. So I think it's been kind of a beautiful situation for me to kind of have to go through these growing pains and have to grow up and like, mature musically. And I think that this next record I'm gonna put out, people are gonna be able to have a lot of fun to it, man. Just from front to back, like goddamn, like I know the tears are coming, man, but like the dance and all that's coming too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And yeah, this is just the start of something, you know what I mean? Like you've had success up to this point, but yeah, it's like once you really reach success, it really makes like everything you thought you accomplished up to that point, like, you know what I mean? If you're grinding for like 1 million streams through your whole catalog and you have one song pop off, get like 43 million streams. And it's like, what is this 10 years of trying to struggle for 1 million streams? What does that fucking matter? Because you just blew that shit out of the water. Like, not even close. So, yeah, 100%. Okay. Our next one is, how do you handle criticism and feedback, both positive and negative, from your audience?
I guess it depends on the kind of criticism.
Let's start with the good and then go into the bad.
Okay. I handle positive feedback. I don't really know how. I just show gratitude and appreciation. Like, thank you for the kind words. I look into whatever it is that I did right and how it, struck them and how it could have had the success it did. And, I just try to express to my audience that I'm very grateful for them. I try to engage them and connect with them as much as I can in the time that I do have, so that way they don't feel like I'm just like leeching off of them. And like I'm trying to be a very interconnected artist to where like maybe I'm not like overly approachable, like because I got shit and I got a life too, but like they're like, oh, he's pretty wholesome, like if he engages with you, like he's pretty nice and he's genuine. I try to be very genuine. But negative criticism, man, I don't give a fuck.
Sheesh.
I don't give a fuck, bro. Say what the fuck you gotta say. I didn't create the music for anybody in particular. I create the music for me. If you don't like it, turn it the fuck off.
Yeah.
Turn it off.
Yeah.
If I said something in my music that offended you, I apologize. I don't mean to offend nobody. That's not my intention here. If I did offend you, I gotta live with that, and I'm sorry that I possibly did that, but it's never my intention when I go into creating. Most of the time I go into creating feeling like I need to get something off of my chest, tell my story, and I'm not here to shame anybody or deliberately put anybody on blast or put any situation, up in the air for anybody to interpret. I just tell a story. You can interpret the story however you want, but it's not your story. It's my story. So if you don't like it, pick up a different story. There's fucking plenty of artists. I can put you on to some artists. You might like their story better than mine, and that's cool with me.
Hell yeah. That's tight. Because, yeah, that's a big thing you learn being an artist, like, through the trials and tribulations, is, like, your music can't be for everyone. Like, there are 7 billion people, or 8 billion people, I'm sorry, and not 8 billion people are going to like the song. Like, it's impossible. Drake doesn't have 8 billion people liking his music. Like, fucking Kanye. Like, it doesn't matter. Name your favorite artist. They don't have 8 billion people that like it. They've probably got way more haters than you do, though. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And, like, I always look at success as, like, I'm grateful that I'm in the position right now where I'm still creating and I can step outside my house relatively safe, like, I don't have like a fucking entourage or a mob of people who are like, fuck you, or like, oh, like trying to like find out where I live and jumping my backyard and shit. Like, because I feel like once it gets to that point, because I do believe it'll get there one day,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I'm going to handle it in that moment because I'm very introverted. So that's gonna be quite the struggle for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll at that point you'll have people who can handle that sort of thing. You know what I mean? You'll be on the Justin Bieber lifestyle, just getting into the back of SUVs. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. Engaging with people is still important, man. I don't know how I'm gonna be able to deal with like large sums of people like that. Like
Yeah.
that's gonna be very interesting, but in
Yeah.
due time.
Think about that. Like for everyone listening or like whoever else, like I feel like something that some people don't consider is like, do you think like people like Drake, Travis Scott, Justin Bieber, do you think they ever want to go get like a McDonald's hamburger at like 2 in the morning? You realize
Not
that
the
like
traffic that.
at a certain point, like you can't do that. You cannot just live of your own volition. You know what I mean? Because it could cause like a riot. Like that's just crazy to me. You can't go to the mall for some fucking Wetzel's pretzels, the pizza one or the cinnamon sugar. It doesn't matter. Both are off limits.
Yeah, that's the point in time where I'm gonna really reframe what's important to me, you know, because I don't make music to be famous or to be like wildly rich. I just want my story to be respected, and I know as you garner more respect, sometimes that stuff just inevitably comes with it, and that's something that I'm trying to prepare my mind for moving. Still don't fuck that looks like, but I figure I'll just figure it out when I get there.
That's true.
Hopefully.
Cross that bridge when we come to it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If you could tell us a little bit about what is the most significant lesson that you've learned from your experience in the music industry?
Yeah, man. So shouts out to Mark Battles, bro. That man has been at it for a long time, and he really imprinted in my mind the idea of like, especially with the social media aspect, it's really about how you frame things. So what I mean by that is like there was some shows because I went on tour with him. Now, not every show we went to was a home run show. Just to put it, bluntly, this is post COVID, so like the live concert scene isn't what it was. People are still iffy about going outside. You have the non-vaxxers versus the vaxxer war going on, bro. So like, it was a really tough market to crack. Like, just go, especially because he's independent too.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just trying to crack all these venues open, and trying to pack them out, like seriously, like right after COVID. And it was very interesting how like he could still frame everything, even the moments that weren't like super big in like the grand scheme. Like if you were to look at it, you'd be like, oh, it's a moderate release, tiny show in comparison to some of the shows we did. Like we're just packed the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
But he has a way of being able to frame, or give the perception that all the things you're doing is bigger than it is, and that's really important. Like I had to learn early on that sometimes you got to sell, you got to sell what it looks like, and it'll build hype for you. It builds that hype train. And like the first couple shows, it was small and it was a rocky start, and he was framing it so well, and like his fan base like came out of the woodworks, bro. We're like, fuck yeah, I don't give a fuck about COVID. I'm coming out for the shows, and each show like as we went on started getting bigger and bigger, and like I was like, what the fuck? Like I was looking at my homie V, he DJs for me when we were on tour, and I was like, dude, like how? And he's like, I don't know, bro, but it's working, and it was a really really big lesson for me to have. So, you know,
Yeah.
you gotta sell some things sometimes.
Absolutely, yeah. It's all about selling yourself. Like at the end of the day, like your music is a product. Like you are a product. You're a brand, and you know what I mean. That's what it is. At the end of the day, late stage capitalism. Fucking, we love it.
Man,
Hell yeah. No, I'm kidding.
you gotta soak in that game, man. So now whenever I'm around people who like have made some noise or have done something, I soak in game like a fucking sponge. So
True.
soak in that game.
That's right. You gotta be sponges out here. So obviously the AI overlords are very, very interested in future tech and AI, and they wanted to ask you, what's your take on the future of music consumption given emerging technologies like virtual reality and AI?
Yeah, that's gonna be that's crazy. That's the kind of shit that kind of like makes me have existential crises, bro. Because I already like in my human experience, I already feel like really small in the grand scheme of things, and I feel like when you integrate too much technology, you become less grounded and less personalized with other people. Your communication starts to falter and stuff. So I feel like in the future, as this technology becomes more and more advanced, will we even have concerts anymore? Will a rapper be going on tour virtually? Like, if you live in Arizona, tonight is your night to put on your fucking Oculus Rift headset and you get to watch 50 Cent fucking live at some
Nah,
strip club
dude,
venue.
they're
You
not.
know what
They're
I'm
not.
saying?
Here's the thing. Think about it. If you're 50 Cent, you perform once for 50 cities. You know what I mean? Like, but you're tapping into 50 markets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, that's cool too. Like, but I'm saying like you only have to go on tour anymore. Like if you
Yeah.
say like, yeah, you could perform for 50 cities at once, and sure you can make that large sum of money at once, or you could extend it out and be like, hey, like this is your time, and still like make it feel like a actual tour, but it's scheduled, like, and you
True.
don't have to fucking be engaged with anybody, and the artist puts on their fucking headset too, and like they're in there and whatnot, and you can like greet the people. Like it's super weird, man. The metaverse or whatever the fuck they call it. I think that's gonna be a very interesting concept, and quite frankly, I hope I'm dead long before like the peak of it. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I need to be a
It's
part of
gonna
that,
be.
man.
It's gonna get wild. Yeah. I think technology is making us dumber in a lot more ways than people think it is. Like, because I'm a huge fan of technology. I'm on my computer like 16 hours a day. You know what I mean? Big fan of
Me too,
tech.
man.
You know.
I couldn't make the music I do make without a computer.
But at the same time, think about this. Like before we had cell phones, you had people's phone numbers memorized, right?
You had
Like
to mail people letters.
I knew my mom's phone number. I knew my dad's phone number. I knew my girlfriend's phone number. I knew my brother's phone number. And then I got a phone. They can save all the phone numbers. Do you think I remember phone numbers like that anymore? Hell nah. Because I don't use my brain like that like anymore. So I feel
I don't
like
remember my phone number.
yeah, like what you were talking about with like it breaking down communication, and like I feel like it affects so much more than that, because like there's probably a million different ways you could look at just like that contact, that phone number list example. But yeah, like we're not using our brain capacity anymore to remember phone numbers, because like we have a device, we put it in there once, it remembers it forever. It's not, you don't have to try to remember it. Like it's like boom, now I can like look
Bro,
up. Yeah.
technology is just another drug, in my opinion. I work at a detox center. That's what I do for a living. I'm a behavioral health technician outside of the music. So, I help people get sober and achieve their dreams in sobriety. And find a new, landscape in life that doesn't include substances. But if you really think about it, just like being on drugs can impair your ability to communicate with somebody or to do a lot of things that you normally would be able to do. The same thing with fucking social media. Same thing with your fucking phone. I know people who can't be off their phone more than 10 fucking seconds. I know
True.
people who go to dinner and can't have a conversation more than 3 minutes because they're on their fucking phone. And
True.
it's like, is this really the direction we're going? Is it going to get to a point where, like, you go to a restaurant and you fucking, like, have to put on like some like robot suit to fucking engage with your peers? I don't know, man, but it's just like social or technology is a drug nowadays, man, and people care more about their fucking social presences online than they do about their own fucking lives in the first place. Like somebody could have 15,000 followers and be broke as fuck, bro. Like living in the trap with cockroaches and fucking gross dishes built up in the fucking sink and their priorities are all fucked up. But hey, I'm the fucking man or the woman online. You know what I'm saying? Like I am that person. Like oh my god, dude.
100%.
I have
Yo,
I have a rough feel with technology.
well, speaking on like technology being a drug, it's even worse than that though, because like I think it's a lot more socially acceptable. Like, so I definitely agree. Like, and I think the phones at dinner thing is a great example, because I personally try to like keep my phone away, like so that I can engage with whoever I'm at dinner with. But think about it like this: like, how many? If you look around in that restaurant, even now, like how many people are on their phones. And like if we're talking about it being like a drug thing, imagine that was like someone using drugs. Like it would be crazy for anyone to use black tar heroin at dinner at a restaurant at Makayo's or some shit, right? Yet
If I'm
yet
at Olive Garden and you're smoking fentanyl in front of
that's
me,
what I'm saying.
I'm gonna
But
lose my fucking shit.
60% of the fucking people in the restaurant can be on their phones effectively doing the same thing. And it's like, it's totally normal. Like your server will like wait for you to put your phone down before they like engage with you. Like it's crazy. It's like socially acceptable. It's a drug, but it's like, it's almost encouraged in a way.
It is, man, and it's scary. I feel like we're on this, and I think that plays a big role into why, like nowadays, artists who are very talented, man, and are, going out there and trying to break limits and push through these cities. They go out there and they perform for these crowds. Like, what does your presence online look like? Like, sure, you might have caught me here in the moment, but you ain't shit online. I always try to tell people, like, I don't give a fuck about how many followers you have. For anybody watching this, go ahead and audit somebody. Instagram audit. Just see how many of their fucking followers are real. Like, it's not that hard to find this shit out. It's so easy how our brains are just like, when we see something and believe it automatically online.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if it was, the age before technology, say like we had certain technology, like to be able to make this music at the capacity we can make it, right? But we didn't have to worry about like these online social platforms where your status online is your status in real life. You obviously are more valuable because your online status is huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And say we didn't have that, and I were to go and perform my music live to a crowd of people who are just there to listen to the music, right? They aren't there to post, oh, I was at the concert, I was at the show. They're like, they went to go actually as music listeners, and they gave themselves the chance to connect with me before they even had an impression of who I was based off my social platform.
Mm-hmm.
I try to think about some of these really, really big bands or like big musicians like Ray Charles. I'm super inspired by Ray Charles. Like, that man was just a roadie playing piano for all these different bands, but he was just killing it, bro. And people took an appreciation into him. And so when he'd roll into town, hey, his name's on the marquee. I'm going to come back,
True.
It's not like that anymore. Now it's like, oh my God, he has 500,000 plays on YouTube, or he has 10,000 likes on Instagram. He has to be good. Like, I'm going to be a fan of that. Like, It's unfortunate.
Yeah. I think hopefully, I try to be optimistic. I think we're getting back to that, where the music will hopefully start mattering more, because I think people are finally seeing I see it like every so often on social media. Someone will just be like they don't post about music. They don't they're just living their life on social media, and then out of nowhere they're like, yo, music fucking sucks now. Like, it's just random as fuck. You know what I mean? But I agree with that. And I think as more and more and more people come to that realization, turn off the radio. You know what I mean? Turn off whatever top 40. Like, start listening to like interesting, like complex music that like it is living in multiple boxes. Like, hopefully, I think that we can get back to a point where like the music is what matters. Right now, it's much more a popularity contest than it is about the music. Man. And that's what's sad.
My grandfather my great-grandfather, I should say, before he passed, he was a touring musician as well. And, the appreciation that I think he had for it in comparison to what I have for it is, like, he really got to connect with people through it. It's like, I want to connect with people face to face. I want the music to be respected again. I don't want it to be just for entertainment. I think people get that entertainment line so fucked up. Like, let's just act a fool and be entertaining and get eyes on us, because that's how we're going to make our money. And that's just unfortunate. That's how it is these days. It's like, you can't even look at the art and be like, wow. Just the art itself is, like, beautiful. And I'm so grateful to be, enveloped in it and get to experience it and have it. Now it's like, the music is good, but they're not entertaining. Like, why? Because I'm not, posting my Rolex or my Ferrari. That shit is so outside of my means. Even if I did have the money for that, why the fuck do I want that?
Facts. Yep. No, I agree 100%. We've got three more questions, and then I will have appeased my AI overlords. So the next one is, how do you keep your creative inspiration flowing? And do you ever experience writer's block?
Oh yeah, I experienced writer's block, man, but I keep my creativity flowing by actually living my life. Not getting too discouraged. Having new experiences, and just staying true to myself and not getting too worked up over it, because it's gonna happen when it's time for it to happen. I will make a great song when the world wants me to make a great song. As
Mm,
long as I'm putting in the time and I'm trying each day. If I don't succeed that day, that doesn't mean I failed. I just didn't succeed that day, and that's okay. Not every day is gonna be a home run day. Not every day is gonna be a 10 out of 10. Like, wow, I made the best shit ever. But on those days that I do make something that I'm like, holy shit, like I remember how that feels. I remember that that kind of feeling does exist, and that I can have that again. I just got to stay persistent and keep going.
true. This is something I meant to say earlier, but I kind of lost my train of thought for a sec. But when you were talking about, overnight success versus like you being blessed to for it to have taken this time and like through these trials, I think you'll appreciate it so much more when you get there, because it's not something that just like a light switch turned on and now you've got all this like attention. Like you slowly built it, and like I feel like it's going to be much more rewarding, doing it that way as opposed to just going famous
Without a
overnight.
doubt, man.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. I would have been like looking at it now at the lens I look at it from is like, say that by chance, like before I started going by my name, right? Say when I was going by my old alias, that one of those songs that wasn't authentic to me and was like me just trying to conform to the industry. Say one of those songs popped off, and that was what the industry expected from me now. I probably wouldn't enjoy creating.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't enjoy the journey, because I wouldn't be true to me. I wouldn't be grateful for any of it. I'd be like, fuck, here we go again. It'd be like a 9 to 5 at that point. The only difference is a 9 to 5 where maybe by chance I got a record deal, which is for you people who aren't educated on what a record deal is, it's just a gigantic fucking loan that you have to pay back in some capacity.
With
So
interest.
say with interest, yeah. So yeah, so I'm very grateful for the journey that I've gone through. I think if I didn't go through that journey, my music would not be where I am today, and I love the music I make today. You know,
True.
not to be like, what's conceited, like, oh, he thinks his shit doesn't stink. Like, no, I still got things to polish and like things to adapt and grow on and practice and get better at. But like where it stands now, I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, you're confident. I would say you're confident, not conceited, because conceited to me means that you think that you're better than others, versus like confident to me says that you know that you can compete, lyrically, sonically with others. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
that's definitely the vibe I get from you. Um, the
Thanks, man.
net,
I appreciate it.
yeah, no worries, no worries. Can you share any strategies that you've used to build a loyal fan base throughout your career?
Yes. One, connect with your fans. Whenever you get a chance to communicate with somebody, do that.
Mm,
Okay, whether you're good at it or not, you need to talk to the people. Um, it sounds so cliche, like oh whatever, but like you need to do that. It's necessary. Outside of that, stay consistent. Um, don't make promises to your fans and not follow through on your word. That's the first way for them to be like, oh, fuck you. Like, you hurt me, Unless you're Frank Ocean or one of these artists that can disappear for like 15 years and then come back, don't try it, Like it's not that easy.
yeah,
And yeah, man, just be humble and genuine, and I think that's pretty much it, dude. Just stick to it and stay consistent, and fuck the haters that they're gonna be there regardless. So
true. True. It's just better to focus your time and energy into like things that are productive, I feel like, as opposed to
yeah,
like
and
the hater shit.
surround yourself with people who want to fucking see you win. Don't surround yourself with people who are only there when you're winning. Because trust me, I got a lot of friends in the industry who, they reach out to me now and they're like, "Man, I wish you were here," and I'm like, "Why?" They're like, "Cause Everybody else is gone, and I'm like, that's crazy how that works. That's crazy.
Yep.
So keep a tight knit circle, man, and work together, and remember where you come from.
True. All definitely important. Our last question, so that I will be able to sleep peacefully tonight without any destruction, from my my AI masters. How do you discover new music, and who are some emerging artists that you are currently excited about?
Hmm. Um, I kind of discover new music through like, my peers and people who I hang around. Like they'll put me onto somebody. I feel like when you make music every single day, I find myself getting so sick of listening to music, if I'm being honest. Like, I have a pair of headphones or a set of monitors in my face for fucking hours upon hours listening to 808s or fucking hats or melodies, and it's like sometimes to me it could all sound the same. So I think most of the time when I discover new artists, it's like like it's sudden and refreshing. Like I hear the music and I'm like, what's this? And like I'll
Mm-hmm.
listen. I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good. It's pretty good. But I don't listen to a lot of hip hop anymore. Specifically for that fact that I feel like everybody has kind of gotten on like the preset formula where it's like buy this preset pack and buy the yeet beats or
By the
buy these
drip.
type. Yeah, buy the drip, buy the fucking bubble chain and the type beats and all of this, and it's like hip hop has become so uneventful to me. It's very stale, and so I don't really listen to hip hop, but I listen to a lot of bands. I listen to a lot of like indie artists. I think indie music's really fucking cool. I love ambient music. I like some mainstream artists. Like I rock with Post Malone fucking heavy, bro. I think Post Malone's gangster as shit
Yeah.
because he evolves the sound so much. I like The Weeknd a lot. I think I'm just out. I'm done with the synth wave, era. It's kind of
It's run its
heavy.
course. You know what I mean?
It's run its course for sure, man.
Yeah.
Like, bow, bow. I can only hear that sound so many more. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Any artists right now that are on the come up or something like that. Anybody hasn't listened to Oliver Francis? He's a rapper that I'm super inspired by. I've been
Fire.
fire, bro. I've been
Super
inspired by
fire.
him for a long time. So check out Oliver Francis. He's super dope. Check out the Brook and the Bluff, man. They're a band out of Tennessee, and also Alabama as well. I've actually seen them a couple times. I'm really good friends with their lead singer. They actually just did Red Rocks with the Rainbow Kitten Surprise. Their
Oh,
lead singer,
true.
their lead singer Joseph is a really good friend of mine. He is fucking phenomenal, dude, and the most humble guy. So yeah, check out the Brook and the Bluff, man. Their album, First Place. I don't think there's a song I'd skip on there personally. It's fucking phenomenal.
Hell yeah.
Um, Check out Velour, Velour. Velour. They are a band out here in Arizona as well. I think they're gonna pop, personally. I don't know what it's like. Like I know the music industry, but I don't know what the route for a band. I'm not in a band, but their music gets me going, man. Their song Supernova is fucking intense, bro. It's super good. And then Alias and Nate Little Lotus, man. That's what I got for you.
True. Hell yeah.
Going crazy.
Hell yeah. No, we appreciate all the suggestions. Definitely have some I personally have some stuff that I'm going to be checking out. And then once
Also,
again, go ahead.
if you get a chat, Imani too. It's Imoney. Yeah, she makes some really really good music too. Super
Okay.
catchy.
Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate you throwing that in there. I also super appreciate you making the time to sit down, and talk with us today. This has been like super, super dope. I feel like there's been a lot of good game. People we're making available to people. All they have to do is tune in, seek it out, and like, knowledge is power. So I appreciate you
It
so much.
definitely is. No worries, bro. And I appreciate you having me on your platform, man. It means a lot. Um, I try to be like straight to the point. I know sometimes I could fucking go on forever, man. But I appreciate it nonetheless. And I think the community is just gonna keep on getting stronger and bigger. And they should be really grateful that you're, inviting these people on to put the message out there and the knowledge that we have.
Yeah.
And for y'all who want to connect with me, man, my Instagram is Nico X Jordan, and yeah, say hi. They'd love to share what I know.
I'm spamming that currently in the chat, his link tree. So definitely hit that up. You guys know what it is. Any final words? Any words of encouragement as we end our stream today?
Yeah, words of encouragement, man. I say this every fucking day on my Instagram, posted everywhere that I am active. Keep going. I don't know. It doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're a painter, a cook, a parent, whatever it is that you're doing. Just keep going. Stay positive. Stay focused out here. Don't let this negativity weigh you down. The world's fucking crazy. The world is very, very hectic right now. Be a bright light in it and keep going. Claim that shit. And I do have an album coming out here probably October, November time. It's called The World That Never Was. Please be ready for it. You'll be seeing a lot more coming soon. I'm super excited to share it with you.
Hell yeah. I'm excited to fucking listen. I know I'm not the only one. Nico, thank you so much for spending the time today. We're going to get into Good Things Take Time as we end this one tonight. So thank you again for making the time.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you, brother.
No worries, man.